And this is Pool alongside my good buddy Senex. We're going to be bringing you some awesome games today, actually an awesome game rather, and there is the lag and G-Fire automatically leaves. Very chivalrous of him to do that. Thank you G-Fire for leaving, unless that was just a disconnect, so whatever. Either way, you said you smelled, that's obviously the answer. Yeah, anyways, so how are you doing today, Senex?
I am continuing to try to battle with my throat. We have been casting for, at this point, you first messaged me at like 11 and it's now up to like 4:30 in the morning because these games are just way too good to miss up on. And so right now we have a Protoss versus Zerg on GSL Daybreak. But if you look at the bases, you'll notice there's something a little bit wrong with them. And what is that thing that might... Yeah. What is that thing that might happen to be wrong with them, Paul?
Oh, I think that it looks to me, and Waldo from Where's Waldo might help me figure this one out, that they're missing 2 minerals.
He's too busy dating Carmen Sandiego. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god. That you even know who Carmen Sandiego is awesome. And looks like they're also missing another gas. So yeah, just so you guys know, this is, how would you say, is it the Furby?
Furby is the title that Baron has decided on. We're trying to get people to refer to it as for fewer resources per base.
Okay, sweet. So fewer resources per base, what this basically means is that you can't really do one base builds, you can't really all in as easily, and you're actually forced to do a lot more macro, a lot more expanding a lot earlier in the game. It essentially eliminates the idea of having a big death ball at about 15 minutes in the game, sometimes 20 minutes. And I think it's really cool to see.
Yeah, the games that we've been watching have been fantastic. It's really changed what units are valuable when and what timings are being done by each player, and also just generally spreading the action out around the map instead of seeing big pushes that generally go right through the middle of the map to go kill off your opponent with your gigantic 200 food army. You have to start shutting down the bases that you see, like, oh, you're getting a little greedy on that, and I'll get a big advantage if I can just kill off that base.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, so we do see here for our Protoss player, he is of course going Forge Fast Expand. Not a terrible strategy, and whoa, check this out. Yosho getting his expansion at actually the 3rd base location, so
yeah,
didn't feel like having to deal with that pylon, I guess.
I generally like that decision, except that the probe is running around behind, and we can see he's starting to cannon it. He knows that he can make his opponent pay for, he just has 1 Zergling running around with 3 more trying to deal with that pylon. So if the probe can get in and build a couple of pylons to start walling in the cannon that he's going to want to have, it's going to be really difficult for these Zerglings to end up dealing with that. You can see no cancel, and he is committing to this kind of cannon aggression.
Oh man, so that's going to be really annoying for Zerg to deal with. If he manages to survive, or these Zerglings manage to survive and kill these pylons, it'll be really nice, but I'm not sure. Actually, he's targeting the cannon, which is what he should be targeting right now, and I do think he might be able to get it. Looks like he's going to get the cannon.
Yeah, he's going to get it just barely. Canceled right there. So that failed cannon rush is actually very, very good for our Zerg player. You can see he's already up to 24 supply to our opponent's 18, as losing out on, how much is it? It's even 350 minerals, as I think. Well, actually, no, not quite. He did cancel the cannon. So it's still a little bit more than 200 minerals for those 2 pylons. And when we see that the total workers, even 5 minutes into the game, is 18 versus 20, having 4 more probes instead of having lost those 2 pylons for free would be a big advantage for our Protoss player.
Yeah, exactly, and especially with the reduced minerals per base. I mean, you really want to not lose units. You already didn't want to lose them with the game how it was, but now you especially don't want to lose them unnecessarily. And there was just 2 pylons completely wasted, basically.
Yeah, right now we have no gas taken yet for our Zerg player, so any kind of metabolic boost or other things like roach tech that would allow him to put any pressure on his Protoss opponent are not available to him. He's going to want to be getting that pretty soon, I think, just because we do have the first couple Stalkers are going to be coming out as the Cybernetics core finishes up. He is taking the opportunity to build some more drones, but once again, if he doesn't do something about the gas situation, I'm not liking his position.
Yeah, I definitely completely agree with you right there. I feel like it would be a really good idea for him to get that gas, especially since it's a rich Vespene geyser. I mean, you know, he could just basically build an extractor, put 1 drone in it, and do quite well with it. Wouldn't really be losing too many minerals, but oh well.
Yeah, we have the robotics facility on the way, and just absolute. Okay, now we have the gas being taken. Is he taking? Oh, he's taking all the gases. However, he waited so long to take them that even though it will let him get the roach production going at full bore almost immediately, let him get lair tech very fast, there's still going to be 110 seconds from the second that he has 100 minerals for metabolic boost to where he has any speedling. So he's definitely going to be relying on roaches as his main form of defense. We see the roach warrant itself going up right now. And 14 drones. Wow, look at that surge.
Wow. That's fantastic for our Zerg player, and he definitely can do that with his Protoss opponent choosing to go for this Forge build with the cannons, basically being forced to play defensively as Protoss for now.
I'm really looking forward to see what the Protoss ends up doing off of this, because all of the ordinary attacks that we're used to seeing, like 6-gate Blink Stalker with +2, or 7-gate with +1, or an Immortal with 6 gateways push, are really not able to be afforded quite as easily. So we might start seeing things with greatly reduced number of units, so like 4-gate Blink Stalker, or a like 6-gate with no upgrades, or other things like that. He's going to have to start making some very definite adjustments. However, we do see the Immortal on the field, so we'll be doing something to deal with the roaches that are hitting the field in just a moment.
Well, and check this out. We do see a warp prison coming in here for our Protoss players, so going to be doing some warping in for some harassment against our Zerg player, and Zerg does not have really anything to deal with the air right now. He is about halfway to his lair tech, so he might be able to get the Spire out relatively soon, but not soon enough to really hold off this aggression.
We do see that there are additional gateways being turned into warp gates right now, and there's a Twilight Council, so he's definitely going to build all the tech paths route. We only need a starport now for carriers, as somebody in the chat was requesting. I do think that carriers is the obvious choice off of 2 base. Carriers are not the obvious choice off of 2 base for the Protoss, but it would be very, very entertaining. It would be quite TLO of him to say, you know what, this unit that nobody uses because they think they're bad, I'm going to use it because I think it's good.
Absolutely. So it does look like Protoss is going to manage to get into Zerg's base completely undetected. Going to be dropping 2 sentries as well as 1 Immortal. You're going to be doing tons of damage against these drones. Of course, these drones should be able to get away. No, they will not get away. Those force fields getting put up there and trapping the drones, and they're, of course, they're just continuing to mine while they know that they just need to get as much money as soon as they can because they are soon going to be dead.
I really like the roaches being used to target down the sentries. He knows that he's already lost pretty much all of the drones that he's going to in this attack, so what he needs to do is try to deal as much damage to the drop as he can to make his opponent pay for the investment of killing off those workers. And the best way to do that is not focusing the Immortals, as their name would suggest, don't die particularly well, particularly to things that deal a lot of burst damage, like the 16 damage acid saliva of the roach on the hardened shields. So he instead goes for the very squishy but still gas heavy sentry.
It does look like Omni is doing a little bit of scouting and dropping just some cutesy harassment with this Warp Prism and the Immortal Stalker and Sentry inside of it. Yeah, that's actually really effective, just being able to take out a couple roaches here and there.
Yeah, with the smaller number of roaches, it's not as easy to overwhelm the units in this drop, even though this drop's a bigger overall commitment. It's actually doing a lot of really good work against this army that's not able to be split up very well yet. If he went back into the main right now, for example, there'd be absolutely nothing there to try to fend him off.
Yeah, and Protoss is just doing some really Terran-type play with lots of drops everywhere all over the map. And now there are 4 queens though, and they actually might be able to get this Warp Prism down. No, they do not manage to get it. I feel like if he had microed in without alerting the Protoss player that those queens were there, he might have been able to take out that Warp Prism. But it does look like Omni is heading up towards this, either the main base or the natural expansion of our Zerg player. He will scout that Spire though, so he does know mutas are going to be on the way at some point.
Yeah, one thing I definitely think we need to talk about is the amount of indirect damage that has been done to the Zerg player, because he's been missing larva injects. He has all of his queens in one hot key, just boxed, trying to run around and kill off that Warp Prism. So even if the Warp Prism hadn't paid for itself, which I'm pretty sure it has, he doesn't want to lose it obviously, but it was definitely worth his time to send it out and go do the harassment. There hasn't been a larva inject on any base except for the bottom right since the harassment started.
Now check this out, Omni is doing a push in the middle of the map, managed to take out so many roaches with these 2 Immortals along with Stalkers and a couple Sentry group of units. Meanwhile, his Warp Prism is about 3 HP with almost no shields, so he can't really be doing any dropping right now.
Yeah, the best way to deal with that would probably be something along the lines of a Mutalisk to go say hi. Though he does have to worry about this attack. However, the macro of both players definitely slipping a little bit, because if either one of them had, for example, like 11 Mutalisks out on the field, or like 12 more Blink Stalkers out on the field, they'd be able to really, really punish their opponent. However, because they don't have that right now, it's actually a very even game. The supplies are almost identical.
Yeah, most definitely. So we can see that our Zerg player is preparing to defend against this Protoss push, which is inevitably going to happen. But he actually might be pushing up the ramp here. Probably not a good idea with those force fields like that. But Yosho kind of overcommitting there. A little bit surprised that he would choose to do that. I don't know if that was a misclick. Maybe he didn't know that Protoss was still up there, but
I think he was taking a big gamble and pretty much saying, I really hope you're not looking at your army right now. And he was counting on Omni making a micro mistake, and that just didn't happen. But the drop is continuing in the main, just dropping off the units and moving into warp mode. However, it does get taken out by a couple of queens and cancel. So now all of these units are going to be killed, and they were really only able to pick off one queen. So not necessarily the most effective use of the drop, but it is continuing to divide his opponent's attention and make him look around the map.
Yeah, most definitely. And that poor Instructor Immortal with his 12 kills finally dies. Not quite immortal.
Yeah.
Buddy. Alrighty, so it does look like our Zerg player does have one Infestor on the map right now that I can see.
Wow, he is really committing to spending his money. There are 5 hatcheries really coming up on the field.
And, ooh, really nice fungal there on that group of Stalkers. And Zerg actually doing a good job splitting up this Protoss army, but I don't know if it's going to be quite enough to clean it up.
I don't know. It's going to depend on how much work this last Immortal can do. If he can focus that down, he's probably going to be able to deal with this army. Maybe even if not. However, there are now almost 60 Zerglings joining the fray. So with that incoming group, it's definitely going to be very, very hard for this attack to continue. I really think that these Stalkers are like far overstaying their welcome. They have got to get out of here. It's
definitely. Protoss needs to get out of here. And that Immortal finally goes down. And wow, really, really overcommitting right here.
Yeah, continuing to warp in units here when it's clear that you're being totally overrun is a big mistake. You should have been warping those in his main or somewhere else. We do have the robotic spade done, and Colossus product. Oh no, he has 2 robotic spades. He forgot that he'd made himself one earlier. So we do not have any Colossus on the field. Instead, he's going for Psionic Storm.